No, no. I swear we won't tell anybody. It stays in this room.
Right, turn the cameras off. Here we go. Who would be a good example of that? There's a couple of Americans that spring to mind. That, you know, I didn't do them a good. I did them a disservice, I would say. Just did a bad job, and also I can, like you say about convincing yourself to do, talking yourself out of a job and into another one, right? So I can talk myself out of a good performance too, and into a bad one, because I'm convinced that this is the avenue that I should go down, and that's why when I talk about being we're talking about a director's medium, those guys have to take you sometimes by the scruff of the neck and make you do yourself proud, and the good ones, and sometimes the bad ones will help you do that. But I've done some, I've talked myself out of a good performance and into a bad one a few times in movies.
Well, let's talk about a director who you told me basically got a performance out of you by often staying out of your way. You found out he was directing you kind of later into the game. That was you were working with Robert Altman on Vincent and Theo, where you said it really just sort of let you guys find your way in the movie, and you realized that's how he was directing you.
Yeah, he was extraordinary. I mean, he was a complicated and difficult man. I mean, we were really good friends, and then we were really not. You know, it was a long haul working on that. And plus, I was playing my dad's hero in life.
And your dad was also a painter.
He was
as
a
well.
painter and a writer and a.
In fact, both your parents painted, didn't
yeah.
they?
And I went to art school before I was an actor, so you know. But he was really somebody that my father had talked about and a lot, and so it was all in all a difficult day at the office. But Altman would literally say, "Okay, you go rewrite the scene, make it yours, and then show me the rewrites in the morning, and we'll shoot them." And he was incredibly trusting of his actors, extraordinarily. I was I suppose I was unprepared for that. I didn't know that the directors actually worked that way. He was incredibly trusting.
You mean by the fact that a director could give you that much freedom?
Yeah, I think, but I didn't realize that he was really directing me. I mean, I had no idea until I saw what came out the other end. But
I think he tried. That thing he did so often, and something I think you did on Warzone is sort of building a community of actors. So at some point, everybody's working together on something.
Yeah, but you learn from the good ones. I mean, you learn from the good ones, but you also learn from the bad ones. I knew the director I didn't want to be on the Warzone, definitely. I've been around many bad directors, and it's not a pleasant experience.
What did you consciously decide to do on Warzone that would make you the director you wanted to be? I mean, what decisions did you make?
I think it was more about being ready to make the film that I wanted to make, and not be tied down to storyboards or hold on so strongly to my ideas that I'd lose sight of the scenes and the people in those scenes. And we abandoned some very serious sort of notions along the way. I had a whole thing. I had sets built that were the mirror opposite of the actual rooms in the house. We had them ready to go, and I was going to do this thing because I remembered seeing The Tenant, Polanski's The Tenant. So I loved the way that he played with the world and repulsion and so on. So I had all these sets ready to go. So whenever the boy experienced something in the war zone, he'd walk in the door and the room will have slightly changed. Like his house was just off. But during the planning of it, this is the sort of director I hope I will continue to be. But during the planning of it, I said to the designer, I said, all right, this might be wank. This might be like film school, art school bullshit. But I'm going to push it. So let's get ready. But at any point, I'm going to jump off if I think we should just stop with this. And it came about in the first week of filming when I was seeing what the actors were, especially the girl and the boy, what they were bringing to the table. I was looking at them saying, why would I want to fuck with that? And we canned it. I never actually saw the set, but it was fully built. And the designer was this Australian fella. Michael was really remarkable. I mean,
But part of that movie for me is just, I mean, I remember talking so excitedly about it after seeing it in Toronto, with just seeing how these two kids who basically never acted before, and how they were surprising Tilda Swinton and Ray Winston. You could see the surprise in the faces in the shots.
oh, there was something. Well, a girl, we saw, I think in all, we saw about 1,200, no, it was 2,500 kids. I know, tons of kids. We had these open auditions. Anyone could come in and read. Then I just saw the casting director say, I think you'd be interested in this. And I said, find me my Linda Mance. Basically, I don't know if you guys know who that is, Linda Mance. She's the little girl in a film called Days of Heaven. And she's also in...
She's in The Wanderers. I mean, she had never acted before. This 12-year-old girl who sounded like Betty Davis and does a narration for Days of Heaven and basically gives the movie a soul.
Yeah. So I said, find me my Linda Mance. And they did. And part of the brief to the casting directors was just here's an age range, but they read the scripts and they had a feeling about what I was looking for. So they went, and there was all these auditions, but there was also, if you see someone on the street, tap them on the shoulder and see if they want to come in and read for a film, which, when they did that to Lara, the girl who ended up playing the lead in the film, when they did that to her, she thought they were going to steal her purse, you know? So she braced. And also then they said, no, would you come in and read for a movie? And then she thought it was pornography or something. You know, dodgy. And then we convinced her that it wasn't. And then she did that. And I couldn't do that. I told them, all of them, I mean, I couldn't have played the dad, I couldn't have played anyone, I could not do that.
But I think that's an interesting decision too, because so many times actors will choose movies to direct that they can star in. And I wonder what that does to your concentration, because you have to be there to direct the actors, and I don't know how you do that and direct yourself.
Well, I think that quite often that's the only way they can get them made as well. But it does satisfy the ego as well. There's also that side of it. I wanted a day off work. I mean, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be on the other side of the camera completely, not in a half-assed way. And it was the right decision.
But, I mean, I think about the first timers you work with, among them Tom Stoppard. An incredible experience. I mean, I don't know how many of you here have seen that movie, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which is basically about to call the marginal Shakespeare characters to be exaggerating what they did, and to make a whole
They got
piece
about 4 lines.
Yes, between them.
Well, he wrote that when he was 27, because he went to see, I don't know if it was Olivier, but I can't remember, he went to see Hamlet, and he thought, well, I wonder what happens to those characters when they're off. And what happens to those characters if they don't have a past, they only have the present in the play? And how are they trying to figure it out? And he wrote this brilliant piece. But Tom Stoppard directed it because, and Scorsese, I think, was interested in it, and Altman, but he said, well, first off, he said, I'm cheaper. And secondly, I will disrespect the text. And which he did do. He would cut, I mean, stuff me and Gary Oldman was, he used to cut that speech out, and he would go, gone. I mean, and the other directors would have, you know, respected it.
So he wasn't precious with his own material?
No, God no. He'd write this new stuff. It was great.
Because it's a very different piece from the play, which
Yes.
is a dumb, obvious thing to say, but probably somebody else had done it, they would try to find that, and he realized that if it's about finding these guys who are discovering who they are every single second they're alive.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know, I was blown away by it. I almost didn't get the job. I got the job because of Danny Day-Lewis. I went to meet, it's this typical me story, right? So I get a call, I'm in Croatia, not making a film. This happens. The money fell out. We hadn't even shot anything. So I'm off doing a fairy story in Croatia, not doing it. And I get this script and it's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And I wouldn't have been able to do it because I was going to film this fairy tale. Well, a fairy tale fell away. I go to London and I have a meeting with Tom. So I go to Tom's flat in London and Gary opens the door. Gary Oldman, who I'd worked with Mike Leigh years before. And we sat and we giggled with Tom for a couple of hours, right? And then Tom said, well, okay, do you want to ride to the station? I said, all right. So he gives me a lift to the station. And on the way, and it's in central London, it's right by the National Theatre, because that's where he's heading. He's on his way to see Hamlet with Danny Day-Lewis. So, and he says to me, Tim, I have to say to you, I'm not going to be able to give you this role because the money people, they want Danny, and Danny's was a star. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I get on the train and I go away. So he goes to the National, and he's sitting in the audience. The opening scene of Hamlet comes on, and Danny walks out and sees the ghost of his father. But he actually sees the ghost of his father, and he has a meltdown. Right? He's done. He splits, goes off, makes shoes. I get the job. I love Danny Day-Lewis. And that's a typical story of me. I had that a lot. I got my first job because I got a flat tire on